please.
Thank you.
Hi, Andre. Nice to meet you.
Hello,
brother.
Felipe. Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Salete. Nice to see you again. Good we're recording.
Yes.
I'm at a procession here for the Black People Museum in the Aqueropita Church in Bela Vista neighborhood here in São Paulo. And as I was saying, we just I'm working for some years now with the peace culture movement, and peace culture, and especially the concept of nonviolence from Jainism, ahimsa, that comes with the interfaith movement to the West with Mahatma Gandhi, is for me the most important concept and institutional compliance we have for any movement, any social movement nowadays. And we've just done this very thorough research on the mapping of the peace culture institutions here in Brazil. And as I was saying, it would be great to do it worldwide with you, Andre.
Thank you. Yes, that sounds wonderful. It fits in perfectly with what I'm going to talk about today.
Wow, that's very good to hear, man.
And yes, I was very impressed with the meeting with the multi-convergence, the energy that people are working hard for peace everywhere. And so, yes, it's time to unite. And so I'd like to give a little presentation, just briefly on primarily I think we have an amazing opportunity at our fingertips so I'm proposing a plan for a new global peace movement to unite the world based on nonviolence. And the reason is because we have to do it for the children, so that they can have a future, because war and militarism is taking away the money and the funding that we need to resolve the world crises. And a major part of it is that we want to stop war, but it's much more involved. There's the other segment that Gandhi proposes is the constructive segment. And so a major part of a movement of nonviolence would be for working for a constructive segment of programs for the children. So any funding that is received, a major portion is going for that. So people see that there's something positive, not just negative of trying to stop something. And that's what I'm proposing will unite the world. So nonviolence I'm proposing a global movement of nonviolence for the children. And there's evidence that there's a group that has been promoting nonviolence and stopping war around the world in many different countries, in Jerusalem, in Korea, in the United States, and across the globe, in global South, throughout South America and Africa. And that's women's groups. Women have been saying enough is enough. We don't want militarism. And it doesn't, so the movement would be, I'm proposing, would be led by women. And it's not exclusive to women. It's to say that women have an advantage because they've already been uniting in large groups. So they should be the one to be the first to start the movement and to lead it and to give the message of compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, to create trust and respect. And so the scales are not balanced. So I'm going to share my screen for just a quick presentation. There we go. And the scales are not balanced. There's a behemoth holding down the scale. It's corporations, militarism, and the economy, and people's mindset, the way we're conditioned. But we have to change that because all those things are holding down the possibility of change. So we want a worldwide unity campaign to create world peace. And in the Northern Hemisphere, there's 3 women that I'm proposing can make things happen right now, that this is an emergency. One is Beatrice Finn. She is the executive director of ICANN, to stop nuclear proliferation, and they made nuclear weapons illegal. The other is Naomi Klein. She's from the climate movement, and she is the foremost authority on what's needed to fix the climate from the Northern Hemisphere. There's many people, around the world, but these 2 women in particular can unite their whole movements because people listen to them. And there are other people in the global South, and that's today why I want to talk with you, because I want to know who they are, and other men as well. It's not just about women. So that's why I'm asked Celeste to meet with us today. And I've been very fortunate. I'm sorry. First, there's 8 different segments of the plan, the global movement of nonviolence, and the women leaders would issue a call to women to ask them to be the first to rise up, and then invite the men. Then there's new global peace negotiations. Oh, I see I spelled it wrong. It's missing, it's negotiations, a philanthropic foundation. There's a funding plan, a local plan, sponsorships, and a specific part for men to say that women, for stopping violence against women. I clicked it and it didn't go. Oh, here we go. There's a proclamation, a declaration, there's a vision statement, an oath that are subject to change, but it's just saying that we want this now. It's to show what the leaders are going to be promoting. But it's based on the grassroots movement, people everywhere joining. And so
it seems good. It sounds good.
oh, thank you.
And
so, yeah.
Yes, please. No,
so I just
ahead.
have a few more things to add in to to say that there's an opportunity. I see as 2 main, or actually 3 main elements, that the people are united and waiting for something to happen, something powerful and something different and special. But the other 2 things is the Secretary General of the United Nations called for a global ceasefire in 2020. The reason was because he saw we needed the money and the funding for the vaccines for COVID to go around the world. But really what he was saying is that stopping war affects all issues. So that's why the peace movement is right now, the way you said it, Felipe, the main element is nonviolence and peace. That's exactly right. And so I was lucky enough to be connected with the Secretary General, and I'm going back to meet with the Secretary General, and I'm making my final plans to try and to get in to meet with the Secretary General to set the movement in motion. So the other thing is that the women in Iran have been rising up for the past couple months, 3-4 months, and that's a perfect start to a global movement, because it was not just about their own issues. It's now affecting the culture of violence. And so it's a perfect time to start a global movement. If the climate movement and the peace movement can come together as the first ones, it'll show everyone, yes, let's start this, and all the rest will join. And I've networked with women leaders around the world. There's in the global South, nonviolence has been first, and the global South is leading the way with the movements of nonviolence. That's with there was the World March for Peace and Nonviolence from the humanists, and there was just the Latin America March for Nonviolence, and so much more that I probably don't even know about. And so, yes, it's the global South can help lead the way because you're already ahead of the rest of the world. It's perfect. So my immediate objective is to get back to meet with the Secretary General. My main goal is to start the movement. And so I'm here today to ask about specific people that I know in the global South and who you recommend to connect with me now, to connect with Beatrice Finn and Naomi Klein and Medea Benjamin. She's from a group called Code Pink. And she was the third woman on the list. She's the activist leader that the whole country in the United States, all the peace organizations know her now. She's the most famous activist for lobbying and being out protesting and in the streets. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. Thank you.
Have you already spoken to these women?
I have, but the timing wasn't right for them. I have sent my materials to them. They know me, but now it's for women leaders to take this as their own, take ownership of the process, because I'm relatively unknown. And it's now for the people that have the already constituents, people that follow them, so these leaders now, when they come together, then that's what's going to give it its momentum.
Very good. I asked you if you know URI, and you told me that a few years ago you met some people from URI. And now URI is a great organization. We are in 112 countries. We have more than 1,100 cooperation circles, as we call them. And so we can be a partner at this idea, from this idea. And that's why I would like to have here Prita, our global chair, and global council chair, and other people that I mentioned in the email. They are doing amazing work on peace. Good that we are recording this conversation, because they can listen to it, and we can think about it. Felipe, what do you want to say?
Are you listening to me well? Am I getting clear to you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. What I have to say, it's a great project. It's very relevant. As I said, for me, it is the most important thing to be defended right now, because without peace culture and nonviolence, we can't even speak about climate change without war. So it is of the utmost relevance. But there is one thing. We already have about a dozen children nonviolence and peace culture movements around the world. We have about 24 of women-led, the Global Women Peace Foundation, among others. And there is a whole ecosystem already working of nonviolence and peace culture institutions. And I think for us to go forward, it would be important for us to map them and to make this historical mapping of the institutions, so we can see what is not being done, why these institutions are not talking between themselves, and many other things. But to know exactly what to do, we should do these in-field data science research on peace culture internationally, which takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But I think without this, we can overdo what is already being done by other people instead of promoting their already good works.
Yes, I think the challenge is always how to bring all the things together, né? All the movements together. This is our question, the most important question. How?
Yes. And
Yeah,
that's the
for
question
me, the
that
first
I
movement is
asked
to map.
myself. Exactly.
The first thing is to know who are the stakeholders.
Yes.
Who-
Well, just to give you an example of, because I see the urgency, I'm now connected with the Charter for Compassion, as I was just telling you, Celeste, and I'm in communication with the executive director. And I asked her to connect me with the founder of the Charter for Compassion. So that ties in with URI perfectly. I'm Zooming with Charter for Compassion on Wednesday. I'm also connected with a group called the Connected Women Leaders. And it's mainly in the United States, but not completely. And they are now in the process of preparing strategies over the next few months to bring people together as well. And also then from Jerusalem, the group called Women Wage Peace. And they are in the same position. They said they're busy right now finishing some of their initiatives, but in particular, in the next few months, they will be interested in finding out where the status of this is. So I'm hoping to bring everyone together, to be in a position over the next couple months to be able to start the movement in 2023. And there are some specific reasons that I can talk about why I think that's very important, but I'll hold those because that take a little bit of time. But please, in our next conversation, ask me about that. And
do you have anything written about it?
I do, yes. I can.
Please send me and count me in.
Yes.
Already count me in.
So now I have your email address. Yes, exactly. And so I wanted to ask questions also because in 2020, the Secretary General had stated that he would meet with me. But because of COVID and because of it was the UN 75th anniversary, that he was so busy, I got pushed aside and I never was able to get back. So, but at the time, there was a woman from Mexico. She was a senator or the same as a US senator. I don't know what she's called there, but then she was also president of the Interparliamentary Union. Her name is Gabriela Cuevas Baron. And she was going to join me. So I'm going to be contacting her again, and she's connected to all the parliaments. So that's a great asset, but she hasn't committed to me right yet. So then there's also from the humanists, there's a man named Rafael de la Rubia from Spain. He's started the World March for Peace and Nonviolence. Do either of you know Mr. Senor de la Rubia? No.
I do not.
And from the climate movement, do you know Christiana Figueres? She's representative of the climate at the UN.
Yes, of her I'm acquainted.
Oh, excellent. So I'd like to ask if we could, if you could help and connect me with her, because with her and then the climate, Naomi Klein, the woman that I mentioned, that would be wonderful. And also, Celeste mentioned to me Carlos Jara.
Carlos Jara.
Jara.
Yes, from Ecuador.
From Ecuador.
Yes. And I'd like to say that URI has a coordinator for climate changes named Lorraine Van Ham. Yes, and like I said to you earlier, our Bishop Swing became also the prize from the Charter of Compassion.
Would you please send me their names in an email also?
Yes, okay.
So that I can have the spelling and so on. And so I see that, no, I want to ask, is there anyone else that you think of right now or over the next couple of days, if there's someone, because I want to get back to the UN. So that's my main objective. So if there's anyone else that might come to your mind.
You must, before you talk to Guterres, you must talk to Leah Diskin, that is the Peace Culture referendum of UNESCO. She's a Brazilian professor, very difficult to reach. Very difficult to reach. But I want to ask you two questions, Andre. First of all, do we have any funding to do the research on the institutions?
That is a major segment that I'm working on, and it all comes together with a business plan. That's what I'm presenting to the Secretary General, is that there's the funding, the marketing, the civil society experts to bring in for advice and as advisors, and the women leaders. Those four elements together will be able to raise the funds. But in the meantime, I do have people that I'm preparing to propose the startup funding for the initial startup. But the main funding will come with the proposal to the Secretary General. So right now, there's not the funding to add to the research right at the moment, no. But I am working actively on obtaining the funding.
Okay. And the second question is, do you have a written project already?
Yes, I do.
I would like to read it.
Certainly. What I can do, I have a couple different documents to send you, and I'll send you the presentation that I gave to Secretary General.
Okay, that
Harris's
would be very
staff.
good.
Yeah, I gave it to his staff. And I don't think he saw it because they sent me down the line when I met with his staff. They didn't send me back up the line, but that was a few years ago. And that's why I want to go back, because everything is now different.
Okay, I would like to see it, and then we can talk again. I will have to turn off the call now.
Yes.
I have to go to the meeting here, okay?
Yes. Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
I'm waiting on the documentation to review it, okay?
Absolutely.
Bye-bye, Andre. Bye-bye, Salete.
Peace and love.
Peace and love and
Thank you,
happiness.
Felipe.
Ciao, ciao.
Andre, I must also go because we have visits here in my house.
Yes. No, this is perfect. Thank you very much for arranging this meeting with Felipe and you. Thank you.
And please send me the recording from the meeting. I will. Oh, you can put in that email where we have many names.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very good.
Thank you very much. I think
Thank
we
you.
can do a very good work.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let me
Bye-bye.
close the recording.